What's going on, boxing fans? Julian Williams here at the distance. I know you guys are probably thinking right now, what the hell is this guy wearing? I'm actually wearing long johns right now. It's cold as hell here in Texas. Not only that, my girlfriend bought them for me. No, not really. I got them for myself. I do my own shopping. But anyway, that's besides the point. Now, this is a long overdue prediction I should have done not too long ago, probably about last week maybe. But I like to do my stuff 2 weeks in advance. But Timothy Bradley versus Devon Alexander, unification bout, WBC and WBO light welterweight championships on the line. Somebody's has to go in this matchup. Very intriguing. A matchup to look forward to. Definitely going to be a nice way to kick off the year for HBO with this matchup. But Timothy Bradley versus Devon Alexander, this is going to be an overall. I think this is going to be it's going to be a chess match for both fighters. Both fighters are going to have to figure each other out, and they're going to have to figure each other out practically early and see what adjustments they're going to make for each other in the fight. I think that this is a matchup all about adjustments. All about adjustments, boxing ability, and overall skill. Those are three things to look at with this matchup. Devon Alexander, southpaw fighter, doesn't take too many risks. The most punch he throws within a punch sequence is 3 punches. And to me, I look at something that and I brought this up with a couple people. The way he throws his jab is similar to how Corey Spinks used to throw it. It's very similar, just how it's thrown, how he gets the hand up. Very good at jabbing. Does a good job at jabbing. Uses the jab to set up whatever he throws. Does a tremendous job at that. Using the jab to set up what he throws. Very good uppercut. Has a very sharp hook. Very sharp, intense hook. And you can hear the exertion when he's throwing his punches. You can hear the exertions. You can hear that. You can hear that intensity. In his in his voice, or how he. I guess maybe it's the way he breathes, but Devon Alexander overall is a very sharp fighter. He's a sharp fighter, though he's shown some liabilities to get countered in the last fight against Kotelnik. In this matchup, it's all about keeping Bradley at the end of his punches. Bradley does move a lot. He does work very intense. But he's going to have to keep him at the end of the jab. He's going to have to keep him at bay with the jab. And also inside, he's going to have to lay that uppercut on Bradley. Lay the uppercut on Bradley. But only do it on occasion. Do it on occasion, maybe in the mid-later rounds, so that Bradley doesn't kind of like figure it out early. Kind of just surprise and catch Bradley off guard with the uppercut. Come forward with the jab. And not necessarily jab too much. Because the last fight, he's getting countered. His jab was being countered by Kotelnik. Kotelnik continued to come over the top, and he just kept throwing that jab. But in this matchup, he wants to keep that space with the jab. Set up the uppercut. Set up the uppercut from the outside, from kind of a mid-range to like how he stands. And he has kind of a wide base at how he stands. But set Bradley up for the knockout. I think I think Devon Alexander has the better punching power out of the two. But I think Devon Alexander just needs to set up Bradley with the jab. Not necessarily go for the knockout, because Bradley's a tough fighter, but just set him up with the jab. Using the jab, set him up with the power shots. Timothy Bradley has a very has a very intense work rate. His jab kind of sets it up. Sometimes he leads in without the jab, but he gets away with it because he's so quick. In this matchup, he does want to have an intense work rate, but but like Alexander, he wants to set up that work rate off the jab. He wants to come over the jab, also, and not only throw single shots, but throw many shots, throw a lot of shots. Volume punching, a lot of movement to set up the volume shots. A little bit of head movement. He does have this tendency to kind of move to the same side and come up top and start throwing his hooks. But maybe make it a little clockwise and counterclockwise. Counter over the top of the jab. Go to the body a little bit. Mix up the shots, and just continue fight at a very fast pace. Fight at a faster pace than Alexander wants to fight this matchup at. I think that Bradley can very well take this fight if he fights at a very intense pace, counters the jab, and finds a way to take away the uppercut that Alexander tries to land on each of his opponents. But in this matchup, you know, Devon Alexander's a thinking boxer who likes to stay outside and think. Bradley's the type of fighter that fights on impulse. Now, me, I like to take the thinking boxer. But the fighter with impulse is just so gifted, but he could think as well. He could think as well as fight on that impulse. But sometimes... Sorry about that, guys. I was in the middle of a thought and my battery ran out in the middle of the video. But I'm going to go with Bradley by a decision in a very close matchup. Anyway, guys, that was The Distance. Thanks for watching. Peace.